from another person, another offer from somebody in Ghana here. And two of them wanted to invest in my business. One person wanted me to work with them and rebuild what it is that I built before. So that was how I joined VGC, the company that I was in. And so far, I've done like 5 out of 10 of my work experience actually working with VGC. Somebody will say, why have I been there that long? It's because the place is really exciting and you don't work on only one project, because it's what's it called? It's a consulting company. So you are always working on something exciting. Every day there's always a new challenge. You are always doing something new. That is how I believe I built myself to become a digital leader to where I am today. So for me, this is the angle I always give to people. Sometimes we young people, we just want to find it, as soon as possible. We just want to go ahead and find what we are looking for. And some of us even have the name Gen Z. This funny thing that goes about that. Gen Zs, you don't have to worry, then you don't have to, you don't have to kill. They say, you don't have to kill yourself. I don't know how they say it, but you hear all the words going. But then I've always felt that you would have to, push yourself, build something. And that is how I tell all the young people I mentor, you have to build something. Just today, I sent a job opportunity out and somebody was reaching. I said, the pet projects I told you to build, you have not even built it. This job is actually in Kenya and it's remote in a multinational company. And my network send these job opportunities all the time. I told them, no, you can't go and disgrace me because my name is going to be on the line. So that's the first thing that you'd have to do. Do I have some 5 minutes to go ahead and just talk about the difference, or maybe when you have any question,
Yes, I will come back to you again. Yes, I will come back to you. There are actually a lot of questions we are going to be asking, even based on what you have shared so far. There are some questions that will come from there. We just want to also introduce Lizzie to come in, because like I said from onset, the session is going to be like a discussion for both of the speakers at the same time. We are not having one first before. So we are going to also introduce her. There have been a lot of questions that we are going to ask from what you have shared so far. Thank you so much, Charity. Thank you. So Lizzie, yes, we also read your profile and everybody here is as well excited to listen to you. And also, we know all of us currently are in Africa. Charity is in Ghana, you are in South Africa. Now we are talking about remote work, which we know location is no longer a barrier. So let's hear from you as an HR person. So what have you done over time, and how did, at what point did you now develop this passion for migrating from the traditional work mode that we have known to remote work?
Hi, everyone. Good evening. I'm Lizzie Mahuma. I am from South Africa. And like I said, I've been working remotely since COVID. I think I got addicted to it then. Well, yeah, I've always thought, though, that my job can be done remotely and I just need to go into the office when I need to. And then COVID happened. And I just think we just had to move with the times. And at the time, I was working for a company that was doing hybrid working after the first wave hit. And then we do 2 days in the office and then 3 days out. But I was just like, I'm so used to just working from home, having time for my family, having time to, be flexible, decide when I want to work and how I want to work and the type of communication that I'd be doing. So I actively started looking for a remote job, and having at the time, LinkedIn didn't have all the filters for remote jobs. So I'd search for a remote kind of position, which was in my field. And then one day I just came across, well, I was actually searching globally because I thought, I'm sure that most remote jobs would be globally. So then one day I bumped into a job at remote, and it was my current position as an onboarding specialist. I applied, and it was a very easy process. The culture is very amazing. I think what I do appreciate mostly about remote work, like I've said, is how it allows me to be family oriented, to manage my time correctly, to connect with people across the globe and work on projects. We call it working on projects async. Like there's no time limit of when you want to work on a project. I could decide that, you know what, I'm done for the day after this, and then probably log in later if I have time. And I'm not going to find like an empty Slack channel. There's going to be somebody who's busy in America or in APAC in Australia. They just started their day. So it's really been beneficial, and to also connect on different ways of working with different cultures, because we all have different cultures. And I think having an organizational culture in an office is very different. It's not as challenged. I mean, I don't know what the challenge just are, but having that and having a remote team are two totally different things. I think I've grown in terms of how I structure my communication and being as transparent as possible. I think with the office, you can just walk around to somebody's desk, whereas when you type a message on Slack, you need to think about the tone that you're going to have. If you're interacting with somebody in France, you have to think about how they're going to receive the message, and or how they're going to respond, or if there's a language barrier. So I think those are the skills that I've learned. And yeah, I advocate for remote work all the time, especially because of the amount of skills that as Africans mostly can share with the world. I think after remote work, you know, it became less about Asians being able to work and more realizing that Africans are very good at client communication, in how well-spoken we are, which is usually a surprise for most global teams, but how well-spoken we are, how much care we take in our work, and the determination that we have, especially with hierarchy. Even though you kind of have to leave hierarchy behind, but we have a lot of respect for our work. I think it's because of unemployment. It's because of our drive. And I'm guessing it's about how we were also just raised to just, you know, have a career and be determined to that career. I don't know if I need to add more later or.
Okay, Lizzie, thank you so much for that foundation you've laid toward this our discussion. You mentioned about some skills which you've learned in the process. You mentioned some skills you've learned in the process. Now, looking at the situation now, everybody wants to work remotely. And now we have some young people who are here too. Since you have already started the discussion on the skills, before we go back to Charity, I would like you to share some of the skills which you think are more competitive. Because yeah, you mentioned a lot of skills that you learned and how we as Africans are even built from our uprising and everything. So among all these skill sets, which of them do you think are the most important ones for anybody who is trying to build a background in remote work, regardless of their field?
I think regardless of skill, the most important thing is communication and having transparency. Obviously, that's like very important. Learning how to work in a team, being very agile because things are always changing. I think one thing that we learned from COVID is you can't stay in the same place all the time. Charity mentioned that she decided that, you know what, I need to go into tech and create like amazing things. And you need to think beyond just one situation. You need to think beyond yourself. You need to think with what the world is going, what is happening in the world and what the world needs. So being innovative and intense in your innovation is very, very important. Besides it doesn't matter what field you are in remote work. I think being intense, teamwork, learning how to work async, learning how to collaborate as well, and always being on top of things, reading up on stuff. I think we have a lot of information at our fingertips, and you need to find your niche and kind of filter information according to the niche that you are looking for. And that's very, very important. I think that's also one of the things that we probably lack as a youth is what to do with the amount of information that we're getting, because we're getting an information overload. And it's important to find what you are interested in and how to narrow it down from all the information that's happening. And also just, I think another thing is just believing in ourselves just a tad bit more. Obviously, besides the soft skills and technical skills like learning how to use a laptop and Wi-Fi, because we do need that for remote work. But yeah, communication is key, transparency, and knowing what to do with the information that is at your fingertips.
Wow, that's awesome. Yes, that's awesome. And especially the aspects of collaboration, because we know that a lot of young people today, instead of them learning how to collaborate, they are either trying to maybe do it on their own or in such a way that they don't even achieve anything because they want to do it. Let this just be for me. I don't want to share it with anybody. So I'm very happy with what you just mentioned here: collaboration, communication, and also trying to assess information and narrow it to what is more important. Now, because of what you just said, before we go back to Charity, now this information at times it becomes overload. So how do you think those who are seeking to go into remote work would be able to manage this information in such a way that it will not turn to distraction? Because sometimes working remotely, there are a lot of distractions. Once you put on your system, you are seeing different things popping out. So it can actually become a distraction at some time. So how do you think they can manage this?
I mean, as a young person as well, I think it was a bit challenging to move from the office into a remote. I mean, I think I was in my 20s when I moved, and now I'm in my early 30s. I think the one thing is discipline. Like everybody's always shocked, like how do you get the work done and still have time to do everything else? It's time management. I'm still struggling with time management. Like there's one thing about time management. I don't think you can narrow it down because the time always becomes limited and the responsibilities continue to grow. So being very disciplined in your work. At the end of the day, you ask for this job. You get paid for this job, and the company hired you, or your company, even if you're starting a company, their success needs you. That company's success needs you to be on your feet, to work well, and to ensure that you give your best work. So you need to, in as much as you go into the office, dress nicely, like in heels or your tie and stuff, and being a good representative. Your manager's all the way on the other side of the corner looking at you, making sure that you're working. You need to have the same mindset to be like, even though I'm in my pajamas, because half the time I'm actually in pajamas, no wig on. But at the same time, I also need to remember that people need my output. People need me to be productive. And if I'm not productive, I'm holding the ship down. And you must always, even in the pajamas, always represent your best self. I think one thing that I learned with this year, with the flexibility that came with having family and being able to be there for my family, being able to, go get like bread and then come back and work or whatever, being able to have like a coffee with a friend and coming back to work or doing laundry, it doesn't matter. All those distractions, right? I needed to remember that I am a working professional who works from home. But at the end of the day, that is very important, a working professional. So I need to make sure that my 8 hours or whatever input I'm putting in is my best work, because I'm representing myself as I would in the office. as I would have to take accountability for the hours that I spent in the office. Just, I think the very, very important thing is to be disciplined, to filter out your day. If it means putting your phone away, I even tried that. Like, I'll put my phone in the next room because I need to get work done. I'll have somebody call me because I'm always available. I can just be like, hey, can I attend to this later because I have work to do, right? And then also managing that with your family. Like I said, communication is always key. Managing that with your family, with your friends, whoever needs you, to just be like, just by the way, just because I'm sitting here doesn't mean I'm not working. Like, can you give me some time? So yeah, it's communication, and it's definitely discipline. A lot of discipline and time management.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a great one. Yes, discipline and time management. Because I know for sure without discipline, you won't even be able to manage your times, especially when things are coming in. So which of them are you going to do first? So that is where time management and discipline comes in. Thank you so much, Lizzie, for that response. So we are going back to Charity, who has also given us a foundation of herself and how she even started back then in Ghana. So Charity, you said a lot of things, how you got your first remote opening. So which we are going to take you from that particular aspect. Today, there are a lot of scams actually when you are trying to process some remote openings like that. Definitely people see all these adverts flying everywhere, but because people have to an extent lost trust in some of those opportunities, though we know that many of them are true. Yes, we are very much aware, but there are some people who, because somehow they have been scammed, and for that reason they are always very skeptical whenever someone mentions remote openings. So from your experience, what can you say about how to get a legitimate remote role, and how to also be able to spot when such an opening is actually a scam? How can you spot that?
Okay. All right. So one thing that we must know is that remote jobs are not just remote jobs with people. I haven't seen any like, I haven't heard of any yet where maybe somebody, like, let's say let's just say maybe Promise, right? Promise has put out a job and wants you to come and work with him. Those are quite dangerous, right? Most of what I'm trying to say is that jobs are posted by companies. Sorry, jobs are posted by companies, and these companies have team members in those companies, right? However, in my network, how most of my people that I know got jobs were mostly through referral. So let's say Lizzie got a job role and then posted on WhatsApp. And so through this, somebody who is also in her network also sees this job opportunity and also applies because she saw it and she's already in the field. She knows which ones are legit and which ones are not legit. So because of that, she's able to share that, and then other people who trust her and the network that she has are able to apply. What I'm saying is that most of these job opportunities are posted by companies, and these companies have team members instead of maybe one person saying, come and work with me, which is much more dangerous. So the best way to find these remote jobs is to follow people who are already doing things like this, right? So you can follow Lizzie on either her social media, either Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, of course, because most times they share these job opportunities. If that is what you really want to do, you would have to follow people who are doing that. And trust me, like I said, I always share jobs like this. And people in my network, most of them have applied once, and then some have actually gotten. I think that the first point of call is actually to go to follow some of these people, right? So if you don't know anybody at all, then the first person you should be looking out for today is to actually follow Lizzie and probably follow me, follow, people who are doing it, because that is where you can if it comes to safety, this is where it gets really, really, critical, that you follow people who are already doing this. Right. And then number two thing is that when you find, and there are, websites, so many, most of my friends who are literally living all by themselves, not working for anybody, but doing the remote job I've known a couple of my friends who are doing this for like 5 years, just like me. Some are doing it way more. Some are doing 3 years. I know a friend who has been doing it for 2 years, because I was the one who shared that job opportunity anyway. Yes. They've been doing it for those number of years. What they did was that they went to Fiverr, some were on Upwork. Those were the number one places that they went to. If you have so much more money, some people were on Flex Jobs. Some people were very much 24/7, were on LinkedIn trying to create relationships with companies that really do more remote kind of work. Right. So companies like Sun Technologies, these companies are, if you have ever heard of ALX, I think they should be in Nigeria, but we have ALX Ghana. We have ALX that teaches. The mother company is called Sun Technologies, right? So if you are somebody who is in tech, these are some of the big companies that are literally hiring, and almost all their roles are remote, even though they have an office that you can go, but they have the culture of doing every single thing remote. Right? So these are some of the companies that you can follow, but make sure that you do a research. Go to the company and do the research. Make sure that you are able to verify most of the team members on that company. Try and message anybody. Don't just send money or CV to anybody, but make sure that you are able to message 1, 2, 3, 4. If you are not even sure, 5 people that you have seen on that company web portal that they are working there, and make sure that you are able to verify, because something like this happened to me. I just remembered, but it wasn't for job, but it was, something similar. They said they were doing data analytics, and they've been there. I have to check the name because they are still in my list. And they asked for payment. Of course, if you have to go and learn data analytics, you have to make some form of payment, and that was it. Right. So I had to now message about 5 people, but out of those 5 people, 2 people were kind of scammed. I think they were at the forefront of everything. Right. But then the mistake was that I have to find out where the company was. I need to find a location. I need to find all these other places and make sure that I message at least 5 people even before money is exchanged. So that's how you can do your due diligence. I'm not sure if there's a question about you even finding remote job. Is there any question like that?
Yes, definitely. We are going there. Yeah, that question is because no matter what you learn here, if you don't know how to find that job, definitely is going to be like almost a waste. So we are actually going there. Before we even talk about how to now find that remote job. So first of all, we want to know, for anybody who is having in mind going to work remotely, what are the thriving sectors? What are the thriving industries? Because we understand that even till now, despite how we have tried to ensure that every work can be done remotely, there are still some work that cannot be done remotely for now. So what are these sectors that you think anybody who is thinking of doing a remote work should be projecting his or herself toward? Because we know there are still some sectors for now that you cannot work remotely.
Yeah, of course. And that brings me to, if you can't be a nurse and work remotely, right? Or a medical doctor or a dentist. Hopefully when technologies advance, then maybe a doctor can consult with a patient and they can diagnose and whatever with any machine, and then prescribe medication. But up until then, I'm hoping that is already happening. But on a larger scale, the greatest sector so far is business process. Business process, that means back office operations. That's where there's quite a number of work for everybody, most people that want to do some kind of work. And some people like to call it tech, but it involves a lot more things, right? And if you want to call it tech too, why not? That's also really great. So you want to be thinking around, I think most of these skills are being taught already. Things around digital marketing, things around web development. You want to be thinking around, of course, things around data. You want to be thinking about I think HR is also becoming a very hot area too as well. But most of the people and most of my friends who are doing these things, of course, my friend guy who also got his a remote job in the United States, when I shared some of these jobs, was actually doing in communication and PR and communication. So they were very much involved in writing, turning out PR documents, press statements, and all that good stuff that communication professionals do. So most of the time, it's more about the things that businesses need to thrive, that maybe they can easily offset to other places. The only reason why business process kind of jobs are growing, one has to do a lot with I don't want to say with cost. Is it cost? Sometimes the cost of doing business in some of these countries, if they have to hire every single person, can be very, very difficult. And so when they try to offset it to other countries, it is much easier for them to manage a lot more things than just wanting to put everybody into the same office. Another reason why business process is becoming very much more famous is because of the rise of remote work, right? And so you can literally see a company that has only 5 employees in all, but they are making so much money only because maybe they're using a shared office and they cannot put everybody into one office. So what that means is that the dynamics of how business is going into the future would actually open up the space for global competitiveness and global talent. And that is up to us to actually develop ourselves in some of these areas. So I forgot to mention a very important area that most people are also not looking into, and that's product design. I don't know. I literally have been looking for product designers for the longest time ever. So that's also a very, very serious area you can look into. And for somebody who has also worked in a tech firm for over this years, I'm going to tell you that they are one of the people that we would have to, excuse my language, romance a lot. Because if they leave us, there's nothing we can do. So product design, I think that you should really, really look into it. Whoever has that expertise, right? So if I find one product designer that in my network that I like, I always hold the person there, because these guys are very, very critical in designing interfaces for us in the future, the interface of the future. All the games you are seeing, everything you're seeing, mobile, everything about online is really about interface. And these are the people who are actually designing our interfaces for us, whether it's UI, UX, right? Not just around graphic design or anything, but like, the core interface and stuff. So if it's something you'd really want to get into, I think that you should really consider it. If you have the expertise for that. If you ask me to learn product design, I would not be able to do that, but whoever wants to should look into. And there's also cybersecurity, right? This is also, oh my God, cybersecurity is also a very hot area that you can literally look into, right? Number one, because most companies don't have any idea what they are doing, right? So don't let anybody tell you it's only data that is very hot. But cybersecurity, the parts that I'm mentioning right now, cybersecurity, product design, and some form of cloud databasing, because these people are also working around with the data engineers and stuff. So also look into cyber a lot, because something happened recently and we started to see sense in why, there's a lot of scam online, a lot of scams, and most websites are suffering, even if they don't know. One day you're going to wake up and all your sites are down. Very important sites. And so cybersecurity professionals who are becoming very, very high in demand and demands a lot of attention and demands a lot of expertise. And the problem here on our African continent, we don't have senior or even intermediate as much as we would want to. Everybody is in beginner, right? So if you can, trust and work on yourself to get to that level, you become like a very strong person. And then, so those are the areas that I can, on top of my mind, I can think of, because those are the needs that keep coming up every now and then.
Oh, that's great. Okay, thank you so much, Charity, for especially those ones you have mentioned. You just said something I'm currently working on as a recruitment consultant. We've been trying to recruit some product designers, though it's something we do all the time, but we always have issues recruiting these guys because of their demand. So when you just mentioned that, it just came to my mind that yes, this is one key area that those who are going into design, they should really look into, because they have a very large market and they don't need to even bother themselves about location because the market is wide for them. So thank you so much for all that you have shared. Now, having known those sectors that are thriving, it is now very important for one to now know, how then can I now search for remote job? How can I even find one? Do we have like platforms where someone can always go to, having talked about some scams that exist? So do we have like platforms that are verified that someone can say, oh, okay, for the fact that I'm looking for a remote job, let me go to this platform. Yes, some happen through referral and some through LinkedIn and so on. So the question overall is, how do one find a remote job? And if there are platforms, you can also give a list of them. Charity, are you there? Okay.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, that's me. Okay, thank you. Thanks. I think I was speaking on mute earlier. Yeah. Okay, right. So before we even think about wanting where we can go get jobs, you literally said something that has always been my motto, that if you can learn product design, right? And I'm hearing in my mind that if you can learn what the people want, you wouldn't have to go and be looking, where can I get a job to do? Where can I get, because right within your network, you can literally get something, right? So it's very important that whatever skill that you are learning, you are able to understand the domain or the marketplace value of that skill. That's very important. And number two, you would have to show something for what it is that you say you are doing. I only got here because I struggled through building a marketplace, and being my first web product, project that I was building, I ended up building something that's much complex, But what I always tell young people is that, most, like a lot of them come, can you get me? Can you help me? Can you do that? No. And I said, what do you have? Show me what you have. Like, what do you have? Can you, show me what you have? And they haven't built anything. So I hope I don't know if I'll get the chance to say this, but it's very much important to know that you would have to build something first. So whatever it is you're learning, you have to show me what you have done. And it has to be a project, it has to be something, whatever it is. And you have to find a way to showcase that you've been able to do this kind of work, right? So if you have any question around that, I could always explore that area. But I think my question more is that, where can I go and get remote jobs to do? That's the question. Right. So you can always get remote jobs from these two websites, right? So you can get remote jobs from Fiverr and Upwork. Those are the top places you can always start from. That is the most verifiable, because for ethical reasons, I would have gone to mention some other less known ones, and you go there and can say, hey, she's the one who said I should go there. So those are as a beginner, I don't know if you are intermediate or you're advanced, then we can have a conversation, but those are the top 2 places that you can go and then go and get remote jobs. The third place that I see most of my friends who are also getting the jobs are on LinkedIn. So if you're not on LinkedIn, you should get on LinkedIn and go to the search filter. Anytime you are looking for a job, you can go to the search filter and then click on remote, because that is how I also got my next job, right? My next job, meaning that I do some side consulting stuff that I do, most of the time. And if I do that, I click on remote and then I filter, I message whoever is hiring, and then we have a conversation. If I'm a fit, no. If I'm not, if I'm a fit, yes. If I'm not a fit, no, then I move on off from there as well. The fourth place that you can always also get a job is through the people who are working there. This is the most effective one that has always worked for me. I get the job without even an interview, because I follow the people, I talk to them, I know them. And so if there's anything at all, I'm able to, so LinkedIn or WhatsApp or my network going for events, I'm just able to identify the people who are actually doing remote work now. Recently, a friend reached out to me, Cynthia. She's trying to transition she's a mother trying to transition. She called me. There was a job in my company. She's extremely good, and we can't even believe we are having her because she's a data scientist. And really, she was just hired on the spot because there was, that space for her and stuff. So remember that you should always not only limit your network to your family and friends and just be networking around your group of people. You always have to go out there, go search online who is doing this job. Like I said, Sun Technologies. These people are always hiring all the time. They are always hiring. So what you have to do is that you follow companies like that. I would send some of the lists if you are intermediate, and because beginner, you have to, find a way to, navigate around the whole system and then trying to build your own project. Honestly, if I give you all that information, it will be quite a lot. And so for me, those are the 4 different places that you can actually go and find your remote work to do. So I guess I've been able to answer your question.
Yes, very well, Charity. Thank you so much for providing that response. And some people are asking on the chat box that you can just type out the second platform you called after Fiverr. They didn't get it well. I just saw a message from Adedeji. So you can just put it on the chat box so that they will see it. That's a very good one. Thank you so much. So before we come to you, we are going back to Lizzie. So Lizzie, here is the thing. Because there have been like this expectation when it comes to employers and the employees. There have always been this expectation that they get from the expectation that employers get from their employees. So they have said something they should be doing. But oftentimes we see that when people are working remotely, these expectations to an extent changes for some reasons. So we want to hear from you. How does this expectation always affect those who are working remotely? Because for instance, someone who goes to work may not really, someone who goes to the office may not really do as much as, but yet such a person is not being queried for not achieving so much because he or she is in the office. So they believe she's at work. But because you are not in the office, you are working remotely, they expect that everything should be done since you are at home. So how do you think this affects remote working, and how will any remote worker manage this as well?
I'm so sorry. Can you please, are you asking how do we manage expectations and performance?
Yes, exactly. Like now, I'm coming from this angle. You know, when you are working in the office, sometimes productivity may not be really tied on what you've done some people just feel, oh, for the fact that you were able to show up, you came to work. But now when you are working remotely, it is believed that for the fact that you've not done it, definitely you've not done it. So how are you going to manage this expectation, knowing that the only thing that will show that you really did something when you're working from home is to show results? Unlike someone who is in the office, you can do other things, and someone feels, okay, maybe because of what you were doing, that is why you could not achieve this particular task. So for those working remotely, how are they going to manage those expectations?
I mean, I think from what I think I understand from your question, any productivity can be, I think if we all understand that every type of work can be quantifiable, and obviously expectations and productivity can be measured on any type of job that you do. And in terms of also the hours that you are working to complete that job. So the great thing also about working remotely is you are flexible with when, I mean, it depends, right? If you're working for a global company that works 24 hours, you're flexible with when you want to input your 24 hours. I think it's also in building a culture, because another aspect of working remotely that people were like, it's a con, was the fact that people were working extra hours during COVID because they were working remotely. And if you put in that you will work 8 hours and you put in the productivity for that 8 hours, then you do not have to be working extra hours. And that is also in the culture, like your manager needs to be flexible and let you know that, I mean, you've worked your 8 hours, you can do this tomorrow. You need to be okay with letting work go and closing your laptop and calling it a day, right? I think that's really, really important. So it's also a balance on your end, which works hand in hand with the company culture and leadership also enforcing taking breaks, taking mental health days, and ensuring that you don't work more than the hours that you should be working. I think that's
Right.
what you are.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Charity. Yes, very important, because a lot of people, because they are working remotely, they feel the work should be 24 hours all the time they are working. So thank you
Yeah.
for that response. Yeah, thank you. Now, on that same point, it will now take us to this question. We understand that working remotely will make you to work in different time zones. For instance, you are in Africa, let's say West Africa, and now you are working with a company based in, let's say, in America, USA precisely, which we have the time zone, the difference is to an extent significant. So how do people manage time zones when it comes to remote work, so that when you are supposed to be carrying out your tasks, those in the other part of the world, that is when they are already sleeping. And when they are awake, they still want you to be working alongside with them. So how are you going to manage the differences in time zones?
So the great thing that's been like going around in terms of remote work and advocating for global teams is working async and finding finding technology that allows for projects that can be picked up on an async basis. For instance, if I'm working in my team, my manager's in the US and she's on Eastern time, so I think that's New York time. And she has to make sure that she sees all of us. By 12 o'clock is when she starts her day. And then by 5 we are finished, and that's like the middle of her day. But she makes sure that she's active from 12 until like 5, because that's the time that most of us who are in Africa and in Europe are leaving. But for us to continuously be working on a project, we work asynchronously. So I can leave notes now and say, guys, I'm waiting for a response from a client, and the client might respond after my work hours. but please can somebody just check my emails? We also have like emails for transparency reasons, and because we work in a global team, our emails are all visible to the full team. So anyone can pick up my work as long as I communicate and say, please can somebody pick this up while I'm asleep, so that the work can continue, right? For instance, we're going into December and it's holiday time, Christmas time. Some people don't celebrate Christmas, but they celebrate like the Chinese New Year. Those people make sure that they are trained on the countries that we work in, because somebody asked me what I do. I'm an onboarding specialist who works for Remote is an employer of a record and allows for clients across different countries to hire talent in those different countries. So if a client is looking for an employee in Nigeria and they don't have an office there, then we can help with hiring rights to help the client get an employee in Nigeria. But basically, yeah, so the Asian teams might, because they don't celebrate Christmas, they might get trained on the countries that we are trained in, so that they can continue working while we are while we are on Christmas holidays. So basically, it's about working async, ensuring that we are very transparent, that the team is very transparent, so that whatever you've left at the end of the day, somebody else can pick it up and continue with it at any time of the night, of the day, etc.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. And so communication comes here. That is very important, so that other team members will know when you are sleeping or when you are not available. But at the moment you are supposed to be working, you have to do that so that no one will come to you when you are supposed to be resting. That's a good one. Thank you so much for sharing that. Before we come to you again, we will go back to Charity. Like we know today, that's how the session is going to be. And after that, we will be having questions from the participants. You can type in your question on the chat box, or if you want to say it out, we will also open the conversation to that aspect so that you can say whatever you want to say. If you have a question to ask, Charity or Lizzie will also respond to it. So Lizzie, when you were talking about showcasing what you do, so that is where we are going now. So for those who have already started something, because you said for you to even say, I want to find a remote job, that means you have already started building something. So now for those who have been able to build something, so how can they position their personal brand using social media for people to see what they actually do? So can you share some tips how they are going to ensure they make use of social media for people to see what they actually do, and how it will really show people that this guy is not confused, he is the person for this job? Because there are some people who are showcasing different things online apart from what they really do. So how do you think someone can make the best use of their social media platform? So the question is for Lizzie.
Oh, is it for me?
Yes, please. So before we go to Charity.
So I think Charity touched on the different platforms that you can search for jobs, but basically the most important thing I think that's running around is social media and having a very professional LinkedIn page coupled with, because that's the first point of contact for your resume, coupled with a very good resume which showcases your skills. But yeah, make sure that your LinkedIn page is very up to date and concise about projects that you do. I always tell people that, yes, you want to show the job experiences that you have, but people also want to know what you do in your spare time. Are you in charity work? The topics that you engage in on LinkedIn, like like we do spend a lot of time on like your Facebooks and stuff, commenting and stuff. Make sure that you comment on company profiles that you want to be working with. If they have an article, read the article and then comment and say, I believe in this. I think I've been working on this. And I mean, if you are in tech and you have like we were talking about product design, and they have a topic about a product that they are trying to create, you can add your comments and tell them that, hi, I've actually been working on a solution to an HR system that's probably better than Workday. All you have to do is just drop a cute ass comment that introduces them to the kind of mindset that you have. You don't have to add all your ideas, but engaging with the content and engaging with the people that are on LinkedIn, that are on your social media pages professionally really does help. Connecting, like Charity was saying, connecting with the right people. And you don't have to bombard them, especially on inbox. I already get bombarded on inbox. But if I'm Lizzie and I'm there talking about how I advocate for global talent, and there's hard skills that we can't find, like Charity was saying, then you be the person who says, you know what, I actually have a team of people who are trying to learn product design, who are trying to learn social media skills. And I believe that if we can foster such skills, then it would be easier for us to, hire such talent. So be in line with those topics, always be engaging, search for companies that are in line with your values, and ensure that you as well professionally, that you are representing those values that they have. Like, have a cover page. If you believe in being intense in the workplace and believe in transparency, you can always just add a little cover page about the importance of transparency, about the importance of remote work and async teams. Yeah, so you must always just be very engaging. Yes, inboxes are great, but most people also don't respond in inboxes, but rather quick comments that, get the people going.
Hey, thank you so much, Lizzie, for this response. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, please, people are asking of your handle and that of Charity. You can just do well to drop it on the chat box, most especially your LinkedIn profile. You can just drop the link there so that they can follow you after now. So now we are going to Charity. Now we have been able to touch some aspects of how to find a remote job, how to position yourself, and so on. A lot of people, after they have done all this, they finally get a chance to be interviewed. But that is where the main issues come in. So the question is for Charity. A lot of people, they don't know how to prepare for interviews, especially when it comes to virtual interviews. Today, we are here because everybody here can use Zoom, we can use different platforms for our interviews and so on. So what are those specific interview skills that everybody who is going for a remote job needs to know? Because you are going to be assessed based on how well you are able to use technology for any remote role you are going for. So when you are preparing for a remote job interview, what are the basic things that you think the interviewee, that is the remote job seeker, should be mindful of, so that when they are going for that or when they are showing up for that particular interview, they come in prepared?
Okay. All right. So I was going to add up to what Lizzie was saying before the interview skills thing, is that please share your journey, right? It's very important. And when I'm mentoring young people, which I'm actually doing now, mentoring a group of young people, we have this thing. I don't even want to call LinkedIn challenge because that's become too cliche, but it's a bit different from that, where every day we discuss, and people are getting some really exciting things just because people can follow you on your journey. And when people follow you on your journey, they feel like they are part of you. They feel like they knew you, or they were there when it happened. And so it gives you that much more credibility. And before I go ahead, you don't have to have so many likes I know that today, Gen Zs, we are so much into becoming popular or celebrities. But trust me, it's not even about the number of likes. It's really about what you are going out to go and look for. Because when LinkedIn, somebody is looking out for you, I don't know if you go to LinkedIn and you check, you appeared in somebody's search, right? So if you appeared on somebody's search, it means that the person, and if the person is coming to look for you, it's not because you had 1 million likes or you had 0 likes. When the person is coming to look for you, they are looking at how, what projects that you've worked on, what you have shared on your journey, and how, it has been for you, the challenges, and how you've been able to overcome them as you move along, your journey. So it's very important that you share your journey so that people now don't come and ask you, oh, so what is, somebody saw me yesterday, hey, yeah, I've blown. I said, how? I said, but we follow you on your journey. So people told me stuff that even me, I forgot about myself. And I'm like, okay, so this is real. So it's very important that you share your journey. If somebody said that they are learning data analysts, start from day one. You can even do weekly updates, share weekly updates, what is going on, what challenges you faced, how you overcome them and stuff. You don't know who is watching. Trust me, you have no idea who is watching. And so I'm just adding up to everything else Lizzie put out there, right? And so when it comes to interviewing skills, it all boils down to the foundation that we've spoken about. Make sure you have something. If you are a product designer, I beg, go and design something. If you haven't gotten any job for you to be paid for, right? What you'd have to do is to go and choose something that you feel like is a pet project you are passionate about, that you want to build. I won't say this, I can't say this enough. Now, when it gets to the interview, I've done a lot of interviews, right? And I'm not even an HR person. So I'm speaking from the layman, what really stood out for me, because I screened through a lot of CVs from different countries, and stuff. And then I recommend the top talent to management, the founders, and then they pick whoever it is that they are looking for. And one of the things that really stood out to me are people who have actually done something and they've been able to document it very properly, right? That's number one. Number two, you cannot apply for a data analyst job when you know that you don't know anything about the data analysis, right? Because when you come, I'm going to ask you questions based on data analysis. I'm going to ask you questions based on copywriting. And if you are not able to do that, then it becomes it actually becomes a problem, because then you are not able to. Number three, please try and what's it called, what's this one called, try and rehearse. That's what I was even trying to put across. Try and rehearse for your interview. But there's always a better way, right? Aside going through the interview process. Anybody here who is on this call and has actually built something, you realize that your interview process is a bit different from somebody that they don't have any idea who they are or what they've done before. Because all the time, then your interview process becomes like a conversation. And I've had all these, whether it's from top management, middle management, or whichever, it's always been a conversation, right? And so it's very important. But there's always a better way, which has actually worked for me, like I say. And that is actually having a way to just connect with people who are the ones hiring for the job. You may have heard this, but please, it is actually one of the most important. So for instance, I'll post a job, right? I posted a job about an operations officer, and for my my nonprofit. And everybody was applying. And I was looking through the application, because this is actually remote, right? And I was looking through the different applications. So, I mean, some were really interesting, but there was this guy who literally went through the job. Whoever posted the information was there, messaged me, and it was a conversation. And I gave the person the job, not because the person was much more qualified, but the person decided to approach it from a friendly manner, gave me what they are looking out for. So it's very important that you look at what they are actually looking for, and what they are looking for is in the job profile. You will see most important, like you see the critical roles, that they are looking out for. So that is how you can get the questions from it, right? So one of the things that I normally mentor the young people that I work with is that they should pick the most important tasks and put them into AI, some kind of ChatGPT or any, and say, what are the top most important questions that can be asked? And one of the top most important question is about what you have done, right? And if you know what it is. And so that is when it comes to STAR approach. How did you approach the issue? How did you solve it? How did you build a marketplace? What are some of the challenges that you feel? So you have to be very intimate with your profile, what it is, your expertise, and then you have to be able to match it to what they are looking for. Imagine I'm looking for a project manager, which I hire all the time for my company, and then I'm talking to somebody who is maybe a writer. It's a very, very off conversation. So if I'm the writer and I'm applying for a project manager, what I would have done is that maybe I would have interned, or MyLEAPS Initiative is a nonprofit. You can go there, you can go to that company literally and just intern or be a volunteer in that company. When you get there, you are able to document the things, the projects that you have worked on, how you have encountered, blah, 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 blah. So when you're on that interview with me, who is always hiring project managers, then of course we can talk about how you faced a challenge, how you've overcome it, and what you feel are the most important things that's needed to be done on that. Because trust me, most people do not get to interview stage. And so when you get to interview, it means that you are most likely to be chosen for the job role. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Charity, for that insight. Yes, not everybody will always get the opportunity for the interview, but when that opportunity comes, you have to make use of it. You've shared a lot, especially making use of the STAR approach for you to be able to explain what you have done, how did you do it, and the results you were able to get from it, because that is what really convinces the interviewer that truly you have the knowledge you are claiming. Thank you so much, Charity, for that one. Now, the second question I'll ask you before we now, okay, I think I should just put this one down because I've seen some questions here on the call. We have less time to attend to more questions here. So let's start taking questions from the chat box, or if anybody has. So one person just dropped something here. That is Kende. He is saying, for someone transitioning from a system support job, that is in IT, are there roles that one can switch into? Though I am a data analyst, and currently, he's currently on a data analyst program which will end in 2025. So his question is, for someone who have an IT background, are there specific roles you can maybe suggest to him, looking at the fact that he's currently on a data analytics program which will end next year? So are there specific roles that you can maybe suggest to him that he should be looking out for?
Yeah, I would have really loved exactly what system support jobs are. But one of the things that really comes up strongly to me would be that he does some form of IT administrative or projects, right? If he's
If Kende, you can maybe make it a bit simpler to specify the particular IT role that you have been
system
on.
support, yeah. What type of system support?
Yes, so just specify to.
Maybe Lizzie would know that more here.
Okay, I think, okay, say yes, IT administration. Nice, IT administration.
Yeah. So honestly, I think that most remote jobs, at least at my company and the sister companies around it, is mostly about IT, right? So I had a program at my company called Tech Support. Tech Support, we do everything they are looking for. And there are thousands of founders there who don't have they just know their business, but they don't know what to do with the tech part of their work. And that's how I ended up being, if you realize my profile, I work as a tech and automation lead. So I have worked on thousands of these projects, and I think it's a very strong area that you can literally be in and still get your, your daily bread, at least before you can switch into data analysis. But when it comes to tech support, I think that you should really brand yourself around things like project manager, because there are times that they'll call me project manager, but at the end of the day, I'm still doing tech support, right? You can also maybe call yourself, project management is one of the most common, but you end up actually switching into IT support and stuff. And from my line of work, the people who are doing the IT support are actually our developers. So if you have any type of programming language that you are able to just, the very popular ones that you are able to use, then of course you should go ahead and do that. Most of the IT support jobs that come to me are the very known platforms that we use, right? So for instance, there's an error in your PHP, there's an error in your Shopify, there's an error in your Wix, there's an error in your Magento, there's an error, all those stuff, or there's a cyber issue. So when it comes to those type of supports, all the time I have to fall on our developers in those different fields to do. So I honestly think that you are in one lucrative area, but it's really about showing the people that need your type of job, right? So for instance, you are talking to me, I've been in a tech company for like 5 years, and you're telling me you do tech support. Even me, I'm still struggling to know what type of IT administration you do. So that means that you have to go out there and look out for what name goes with this type of role, so that it is very easy for anybody to refer you, because that's very much more important than who is even looking out for you. So look out for what hype in IT, like what does a day-to-day look like for an IT support admin? That is how you're able to get something. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Charity, for that response. Because of time, I wanted to see if Lizzie can also speak to this, but I'm very certain Charity has done a great justice to this. So we are still going to take some questions from the participants. Adesola is putting up his hand. So Adesola, you can unmute and ask your question now.
All right, good evening, and thank you for the opportunity. Please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
All right, I want to thank the speakers. And then the question just being responded to about IT administration and IT support catches my interest, because I'm an IT person and I do telecommunications. So now I'm interested in that question because that question spoke to me directly. When you want to transit, just the way the brother asked that question and the response that I got, how do you align this with the skill set you have? Let's say, for example, you're a network administrator, you do things around Cisco, around transmission, or for example, voice over IP. These are specific IT and telecom skill sets, but they are not programming in the real sense. So how do you relate this? That is one end of my question. Another end of it is that if you're an IT person and you are building a skill set around leadership development, taking training, you are exposed to partisanship, please, what kind of LinkedIn profile will you build? These are my two questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Adesola. I think Charity can speak to that before Lizzie will also say something about that.
Yeah, so Adesola, are you trying to transition, or you'd want to stay in that domain?
No, I'm staying in that domain.
Mm-hmm. Would you still want to build on your IT support area and then get more roles in that area? Is that
Yes.
what you're trying to do? Great. Okay.
Thank
So I think I already said something around look out for what type of, do you get my point? What type of job roles are they calling your type of job? Because initially IT support is very, very broad though. It falls into business process. So it was when you were explaining whether you take over calls from people, and stuff, before I realized that that is what you were explaining, because there's a lot of back office or business process, whichever one that we now want to call it. It has a name that we would give it, but you would want to grow into that type of leadership, right? So if you want to become a leader in that area, then you would have to call yourself a business process person, an IT administrator, like you call it, like that's the type of. However, when it comes to explaining on your explanation there, you would have to state exactly what type of IT support that you do. Do you get my point?
Yes,
Hello?
please. I do.
Yes. So please do that explanation, because that's one thing that I've always suffered or struggled to understand about IT. So because now, if somebody is an IT support, but the person does some kind of maybe web, like me, I'm in a more core IT area, more into project management and then automation, digital automation. But I also call myself a support person because I do a lot of the support for people. But when it comes to telecommunication, I haven't really worked with anyone like that. But I have worked with companies that have outsourced their IT support to some of the clients that we've worked for. Do you get it? So at the end of the day, we are, supporting each other and all that. So I think that you'd have to explain it, because it actually, gets me confused a lot more times, right? So you would have to give yourself that explanation so that people are able to understand what type of support, because support comes in so many ways. And trust me, when people are confused about what you do, it is very, very difficult for them to even ask you for help or reach out to you and all that. Number two, the second strategy that worked for me is that when I realized that people were now confusing my role, because sometimes people thought that I was deep into development when I have moved a lot into automation, APIs, audit, IT audits, and stuff like that. I've moved a little bit from there, right? What I did was that I was able to form a community of people, meaning that I have connected with companies that are looking for people like me. I've been able to connect with the people who are working there with me. And yesterday I was in Tech in Ghana conference and I saw this company called ESAL. I think you should really look at them. They are really building something amazing here. Look at the name of this company. Did it come? ESAL. Did anybody see it or it didn't come? Oh my God, it didn't come. Yes. So check out this company. When you were speaking, that's when they came up. They have a big, they say they have over 14,000 workers or so, and they have offices in Kenya, Ghana. Did they say Nigeria? Like a couple of the African countries and stuff, right? I don't do that area, but I literally saw some of these companies that are building things around here. So look out this company. Look out the people who are working in those companies. See what type of profile it is they are building, and then mimic their work, and then build yourself as a leader in that area. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Charity, for that breakdown of how we can also become a leader in that particular industry. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, Lizzie, I don't know if you have something to add to what Charity has said so far. Because of time, I think that is where we will be ending after Lizzie might have contributed what she wants to say.
No, not necessarily. I think Charity covered most of it, especially about changing careers. But I also believe that you must also just check out, there's like flex jobs, there's Upwork. The great thing about such places is they are always also looking for people that don't have that as much experience in that certain field, and can do entry-level jobs and get practice on those on those type of fields. But then also with what Charity has said, it's also about building the right networks and showcasing the type of projects that you might have. Like, don't limit yourself. The world is ever growing. I was in normal HR, now I'm an onboarding specialist, and I go through so many contracts on a daily basis, but I also do like consulting. And then I'm thinking of going into customer success management, which is also a very growing field in terms of remote work. And I don't have the skills at the moment for that. I've never been a customer success manager, but I can read up on YouTube. I can check with other customer success managers and just engage with them. I can join their webinars as well, just to find out what kind of skills I need to have for me to, and the type of skills that I need to, that I need to develop for me to at one point land a job in that. So I think the phrase "the sky's the limit" is really, really at its peak, especially with AI and how we are ensuring that robots don't replace us. So we need to be more innovative, even in our way of looking for jobs and the type of careers that we may want. You may even have a passion. I really do believe in passions and believe that sometimes the job that you are looking for might not even exist. And it's just a matter of ensuring that you align yourself with how you believe the world is growing. We are all creating a world at the moment, and technology is allowing us to definitely do so. So yeah, like I said, filter information, believe in who you are, and invest in yourself. Honestly, greatly, we need to just invest in ourselves so that we can stay afloat with how much technology and the world is changing on a daily basis.
That's a great way to end the session for today. Yes, if you are trying to establish yourself as a leader in your industry, first of all, you have to look inwardly. Check those skills that you need to also develop, the ones you don't have yet, like Lizzie have shared, and see how you are also going to make your journey to be understood by others from what Charity shared. Because when your journey is being understood, people will not take you like someone who just came from nowhere and just started saying things he or she knows nothing about. But because you have been able to carry everyone along in this process, so they understand that you started from somewhere. So yes, that's a very great response from Lizzie and also Charity on how to establish yourself as a leader in your particular industry. Though Adesola was very specific on his industry, which is in the IT sector. And yes, the response that have been provided goes even beyond those in the IT sector. Anywhere you are, by doing what they have shared so far, I'm very certain that you can command that influence in your different industries. We have so many questions, but there's no how we are going to attend to all of them in this short time, just an hour, 30 minutes. So, but that is why we have also pleaded with the speakers to drop their handles here. I'll also drop um, my LinkedIn link so that anybody that wants to connect with me or any of the speakers, they can do that. The conversation should not stop here. It should continue. At any moment you have any question that you think any of the speakers can address, you can reach out to them directly on LinkedIn. You can also reach out to me, or you reach out to Olufumi for any question. Some people are asking about the recording or whatever. That may not be responded to now, but I'm sure if Olufumi may come up, he may respond to that. So, but in all, I'm very glad, and I want to say a big thank you to our speakers, Lizzie and Charity, for the great work and also the effort you put in today for this session, and everyone who has also come here to learn, to unlearn, and also relearn. I'm sure we are very eager to start up a remote role, or those who are already working remotely and they want to maybe advance in whatever they are doing. And this is a great platform for you to continue doing this. So once again, thank you so much, Lizzie. Thank you so much, Charity. So Lizzie, I don't know if you have some parting words for us, and then before Charity.
I thought those are my parting words. No, I think I'm fine.
Oh, okay, that's great. So you've shared your, you've shared your LinkedIn link here, so everybody is going to follow you, and when they have issues, they will certainly reach out to you. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. So Charity, do you have parting words?
Okay, what I would say is that don't let anybody lie to you that you can't live off remote work, because people like Lizzie, even me who was not even looking, remote work found me. So it's very important to know that people are actually making money, like serious money, out of this remote work. So just put yourself out there. But there's a part that you would have to think about remote work, and that's one day you wake up and you have no human relation. So be very, very intentional about networking. Let people in this Nigeria know that, or South Africa or Ghana know that you are actually in the space. So go for networking events, introduce yourself, so that one day you don't wake up and become an alien in your own country. That is one mistake that I had to quickly work on. So thank you.
All right.
Yes, okay. Thank you so much, Charity. So like I said before, Olufumi will come up and round up the session. So thank you so much, everybody who have been here from the beginning to the
Thank you so much. Thank you, Oberten, for a wonderful, wonderful moderation. Thank you to Charity. Thank you, Lizzie. I'm so glad to see both of you on the session. You know, a few minutes before, I was already wondering what is happening, but I'm so grateful that you took time out of your busy schedule to be in this session. And thank you for the insights that you shared so far. I see the chat box buzzing. So please let's express our appreciation to our speakers. It has been a very packed one. They've given free knowledge, literally, to us during this webinar today. Thank you so much. We deeply appreciate it. And to everyone who has joined the session, thank you very much for joining the session. And we look forward to having you in other MyLEAPS Initiative events. Or what we do here is we bridge the information and skill gap. Like today now was an information webinar. We organized this to give you information, because we believe that information can make a whole lot of difference in the opportunities that you get as an individual. So that's why we have this. And of course, we also have training sessions. We had this month, we had a business development training series. I think last month, the month before that, we had for career people, we had a career development bootcamp. So please be sure to follow us on social media platforms. We're MyLEAPS Initiative everywhere, and connect with us. And of course, since you have registered for this program, when we do have further or other events, we'll definitely be sure to get a message on that. So thank you again, everyone. Thank you, Charity. Thank you, Lizzie, joining us from South Africa. Charity joining us from Ghana. Thank you so much for being with us today. And thank you so much, Oberten, moderating from Nigeria. And to everyone who has joined again, thank you very much for joining, and have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, everyone. Take care.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It was so insightful.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.